Today is Sunday, February 6th. We are meeting today with us as sisters on topics that have been requested. One of them that has been requested is the how do we deal with the loss of family members? Over the last 3 years or so, we've lost several family members. We've lost both sets of grandparents. We've lost a parent. We've lost siblings. We've lost in-laws, nephews, and multiple friends and cousins, you name it. We've been through it these last couple of years. Everybody asks how we are strong and how we get through things. Well, part of what we do is we get together as a family. We're fortunate enough to have a big family to be able to do that. And we have breakfast or we have dinner. It's always around food or drinks. And we talk it out. So that's something that we wanted to share with all of you guys today. I have three of my sisters here. We have Anna, Pati, and Reina, and myself, Dawn. We usually get together, the four of us, and talk about stuff. We'd like to have the entire family here, but everybody doesn't like to participate usually. But we are pretty close, and we're fortunate to have that closeness as sisters, and we're able to do this. How do we deal with it? I guess, everybody could just jump in and talk about it. We wanted to have some outsiders here today to kind of get their thoughts on what they do and how they cope and, how long it's been and just the different scenarios. But, it is us today. I would say from myself, this is how I get through it, is just having the support of family and being able to talk about it. What about you guys?
I say, it's me, Reina, too. So I say just the main thing is to stay positive and look at everything in a positive way instead of being negative. So many people are out here and they're just negative about everything. And if you're going to just look at all the bad of when somebody passes away or the what if and I could have did this, said that, it ain't going to get you nowhere. You got to be positive, look at the positive stuff, how long they lived, the good times that you spent with them, the memories, stuff like that.
That leads me to another question, is like how, and that's a good way to look at it, because I think I do that. I play devil's advocate with everything, not just this, but with everything. I look at it from both sides. We had a friend say something on social media the other day about their family member's birthday and how bad it hurt, and we had our aunt respond and say, well, why don't you go buy a birthday cake and celebrate her birthday with her? Those are the types of things that we do. What about Bati, Anna? What are some of the celebratory things you guys do to remember your loved ones?
This is Pati. I think I handle it a lot by like memories. For like Dad's birthday, me and the kids released balloons for his birthday, and I think just like celebrating, we did a cake too and sang him happy birthday. The same thing with Lito, like we all get together at the cemetery and just celebrate it, because we can't change what it is, and so the best thing I found was just to celebrate their life instead of dwelling on the negative.
It's Anna. So I think for me it's the same thing, keeping their memory alive, like what we do for Lido in the street cleanups and going and celebrating birthdays. Even with my dad, we'll go, even though he's cremated, we go over to Lorraine's, we still celebrate. That helps me. And then another thing is when I'm feeling really down and I'm by myself and my sisters aren't around or I'm working, I still write my nephew messages on Instagram. I don't know if I ever told anyone that, but I still write him like if I'm writing anybody, and I tell him how much I love him and I miss him, and that helps me.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we do a lot, as we do celebrate. We think of what they would want to do if it was their birthday. If it's our nephew's birthday, how would he want to celebrate it? And we celebrate it.
He was a happy kid.
Yeah, so we give high fives. He loved helping other kids, so that's one thing. We created this scholarship fund to help other kids. The street cleanup, anything that we can do. My sister has a jar of candy next to his urn because he had candy for all of his nurses.
We leave him shots of tequila or whatever drink we're drinking.
Right.
Dawn always brings him flowers.
I bring him flowers, and we just had our sister-in-law pass away, and even though we didn't spend a whole lot of time with her, we try to lift my brother up and my nephew and let them know that we are there for them as well. And every time we got together, we had food. Every time she came over, it was to celebrate somebody's birthday or a holiday or something, and we always had food. So that's something we do with him, is we make a lot of food and we have him come over and celebrate as well.
I think that's like the main thing is food. Seriously, like
food cures everything.
It brings everyone together.
No, because like on a bad day, we'll just come and call in, I need food, and pretty much you already know what's going on.
I think that's a big part, though. Not everybody has family support like that, but I think it's very important for us, even if we're on bad terms or mad at each other. Like, if we need each other and we can call each other, we'll always be there. Times when it matters, like holidays or my dad's birthday or Lito's birthday or anybody's that has passed in our family's birthday, or just to celebrate them, we all come together regardless of how we feel about each other. And I think everybody should do that. It's important.
And a lot of people don't have family or friends, or they
That's what I was
express
gonna
that
say.
they don't have it, but you need to find an outlet. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to pick up the phone and call a family member. Go buy a cake and go to the cemetery, or sit with the urn, or go to their favorite place and sing happy birthday and have a conversation out loud.
Buy a
laugh,
balloon, write on it, and send
and
it.
then send them your message up to them. But I think that even though you don't have somebody, you can find ways to cope with it by laughing and enjoying the good times. You have to think of, like Lorraine said, you have to think of the positives and not always the I didn't do this. It's not too late. You can still sit there and say, I love you, or I wish I would have told you this. I have plenty of times gone to my brother's grave in the past years and sat there and said, I need you to be my angel. I need you to guide me. I wish you were here. This is my problem. And even though they cannot physically help you, emotionally they can, and you leave feeling so much better. And I think that, for those of you who don't have the support, those are things you could do. And you're going to laugh and cry at the same time, because it does hurt. But you laugh about the stupid shit that you remember. And, you're laughing and crying, but you can't not... You don't let yourself cry and get into a depression. Cry and be happy about it, and be thankful and grateful for the time that you were able to spend together.
I think that's what I do at all the services, is like try to make a funny memory
while you're crying.
So that way everyone doesn't, like, it's not like a eerie, sad time. Like, it makes you think, like, we did have good times. We do have good, happy, funny memories.
And a lot of people say, well, why don't they come visit me? You don't understand. They're with you all the time. Mm-hmm. You might not have signs. You might not have dreams. You might not have that one thing that tells you they're there. But they know, and you just need to speak to them. You need to reach out to them. They can't necessarily reach out to you always, or maybe they are and you're not seeing the signs. But the more stressed you are, the more tired you are, the more that you dwell over things, you're not getting good sleep. So how do you expect to dream? You're not going to get them in your dreams if you're not sleeping well. So you need to take care of yourself in order to even attempt to get a dream about your loved one. So, there are other things. There's, some people, butterflies, with us, it's hummingbirds. There's certain things out there that it just... there's those reminders, and you don't know in what form they're coming to visit, but they are there, and you need to speak. It doesn't necessarily need to be out loud. You can talk to in your mind, you could have those thoughts, but you need to release your feelings somehow.
I think that's. Go ahead.
Like I was saying, I still write Instagram messages to my nephew once in a while. Like when I'm really down and I don't have anybody there with me, I'll still write messages, and that makes me feel better. Like I'm still talking to him. Like he's still reading my messages, even though I know he's not.
He is. He knows what you're saying.
I think I do it mostly like when I'm by myself on my way to work, like when I drive. That's like my big time to talk to them because I turn off my radio, it's quiet, and I just feel like it's me and them.
And everybody says, when does it get easier? It doesn't. My brother's been gone for 29 years, and we can still cry about it. It's not something that anybody will ever heal from. It's not something that you'll ever not cry about. It's something that lasts a lifetime, but you just have to, if it's tragic, you have to forgive, and that's the hardest part, I think, is forgiving why it happened. You can't make changes on that. It happened. It's their time to go. You can't bring them back. But as long as you hold on to that hate, that guilt, that anger, you can't heal. And not saying that you can't or shouldn't be angry, because that's natural. Everybody has that. But when you finally decide to let it go and say it happened for a reason, there's a reason behind it, and accept that reason, then that's where the healing process starts. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, or they feel guilty to maybe forgive or to let it go. And so it takes longer for them to heal.
Do you think a lot of people feel guilty about being happy again after death?
I definitely do. And this is one thing that I've said probably to all of you guys at one point or another, is things happen for a reason, and it's sad, but we need to enjoy what we had, and you need to look at the positives. Everything happens for a reason, even if it's devastating and it tears your family apart. There's a reason behind it. It's to make you stronger. You're only faced with what God is going to let you handle. It's how you handle it. And like I said, nothing is ever easy. Nothing is ever good. It is tragic, but you have to look at the positives behind it. You have to take something positive away from it. Be glad that you even got to spend that time with that person, because, we're not guaranteed anything. Our kids are lent to us. They're not our kids or God's kids. Our parents, they eventually have to go. Who knows?
Well,
one of us might not be here tomorrow.
That's the biggest thing right there. Death is part of life.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna die. It's just when
and how.
I think that's part of the positive part, is knowing that it's part of life. It's part of life. It's gonna happen. We don't know when, but everybody's gonna die. And when you die, then you're gonna be back with them regardless. So
you need to make your life better so that you can revisit them again in your second lifetime.
I think a lot of people too, they have that guilt because while the person was here with us, they didn't take advantage of the time they had with them, or they didn't express their love or what the person meant to them, and then it's always guilt afterwards. I should have said this one last time, or I shouldn't have fought with that person.
And that's where I think a lot of it comes from, and part of your healing is it's not too late to still do that.
Yeah.
You still have to, I held a lot of guilt with my brother that, he was younger than me. He was only 15 years old. I should have protected him. I held that guilt for years, but I had to realize that there is nothing in this world I could have done. And if I did do anything, I would have probably lost my life with him. So was I willing to lose my life with him? At that time, you're like, yes, I would have. But now I look back and I'm like, there's no way I could have. I would have lost out on a lot in my own life. And I'm meant to be here.
Had a daughter at that time.
Yeah, I had a daughter. I would have never seen grandkids. And you got to look at things from a different perspective. How do you guys feel that it affects your relationship with within your household, when you're grieving?
It affects it a lot, because I know personally with me, we've both lost nephews that were pretty close to us. So I think he understands more now. But at first, I don't think he understood death. I told him all the time, like, I cry a lot and he's like, you're crying for no reason. What's wrong with you? Or you're emotional today. And he didn't understand. And I told him, until you lose somebody really close to you, a brother, a parent, a nephew, a niece, you're not going to understand what I'm going through. And at that time, he never has. He never did. And then when he lost his nephew, I think he started to understand, and we started to fight less. Not that we were fighting about it, but because he didn't understand. It was causing a lot of fights because I felt like I was alone, and he couldn't understand me, so he couldn't fully be there for me. And that was hard because a lot of people don't understand what you're going through, and they won't understand until they go through it.
I think you kind of shut down at some point and they feel like you're ignoring them, or just, you know, you have...
I think it was like that with Dad because, like, I wasn't paying attention to my household. I was at Lorraine's house constantly with Dad, trying to help her with Dad if I wasn't at work or school. So my household was needing me, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it would cause a lot of arguments. Even with the kids, they would tell me, like, Mom, you're never here, but...
Until they lose a parent, they won't understand.
With the next death, it was like, now we're all experiencing it together.
Yeah. Right.
And I think I remember, like, Lorraine telling me, like, someone telling her, like, why are you always upset? Like, you gotta kind of, like, not let it go, but, like, it is what it is, pretty much. And I'm like, what freaking jerks? Like, how could you say that to someone? Like, they don't know what you're feeling.
Right.
But I think because, like, some people haven't went through it, they don't understand. Or, like, some people I've even experienced, like, I think we've experienced death so much. Like, I've even ran into people that, like, someone not close, like, very, very extended family member passes and they're gonna die.
Devastated.
Like, they don't know what to do with their lives. And I'm like, serious? Like, you barely knew that person. But it's because we've experienced it so much, I feel like...
Well, I can
better
honestly say, you know, there's wedding planners. I could probably be a funeral planner at this point. But yes, I agree. People don't, well, some people deal with emotions differently. Some people have different support. Some people don't have any support.
But I think each death is different, though, because a friend is different. When we lost our brother, we were young, so it was different. Like, we were hurt, but I mean, we were young.
I think, it probably affected Dawn more than...
Yeah, because she was
older.
I
was 18. Yeah. I was still young, but I was 18.
That hurt.
I didn't think that would hurt at all.
Yeah.
The relationship we didn't have
but
with
then,
him.
like, my son, that's a totally different.
Yeah.
So, each one is different. And I ain't gonna lie, for years I fucking just ran wild. Like, did what I wanted to. I didn't care what anybody thought. I paid my own bills. I could do what I want, this and that. But now, with Gavino, he's just there.
You need that support.
Like, I've calmed down. He's there. Like, yesterday, he kept saying, we're going to go to the cemetery in the morning and take Lido flowers. I know I'm going on Sunday because that's something I always do. But, like, I'll put it off and put it off and put it off till I don't go. And then, like, this morning, he's like, we're going. He went to the store. He went and got the flowers. Then we went and took them. And every Sunday, he makes sure, whether I'm in the mood to get out of bed or not, he makes sure that I'm up and I go take them.
Because if you don't do it, you're not going to feel that guilt for the rest of the week. And you need to do that.
But he's been there to help out a lot.
That's good.
So I think that's, like, a big thing that everybody needs to find that support. And if you're not getting that support, maybe
it's not the right person.
It's not the right,
Yeah, I could say that when my brother passed away, my brother-in-law passed away 2 weeks before. So he went through the death of his brother, and 2 weeks later we went through the death of my brother. So we kind of both grieved together. And it was hard for many years because of the situation and the circumstances of both deaths. They were both tragic. We both had to deal with things a certain way, but I won't say that it's gotten easier to deal with people passing away, because like you said, it depends on the person, it depends on the time, it depends on how you're feeling, and if others are sick, or how that person's family is doing. But I think it's been easier to cope with it afterwards. Death is never easy, but it's easier because we know that, yes, you're sad, you cry, but you automatically go into that mode where, what's good about them, what made them happy, what made them laugh, what made us laugh when we were with them.
So what do you guys think about, like, when there's death? I know a lot of people who are married, and when there's death, like, especially their kids, when it's their kids, it causes all kinds of problems
within the marriage,
and a lot of them have divorced or separated. And
I think there's blame there.
But the main thing that I've heard is, like, the man is always like, why are you crying? Get over it. And even though it's his kid, he's telling you that. And I understand, like, they don't want to always see you sad, but at the same time, I go to sleep crying, I wake up crying. I could cry at any minute of the day. It just depends.
I think really from a man's perspective, they have to be the macho, and they have to be the tough one, and they don't like to deal with anything, period, or show their emotions. And they're hurt too, but I think they cover it up in different ways. Like, they cover it up by leaving the house and working on cars, or they cover it up by drinking, or some cover it up by drugs, some cover it up by,
but
whatever.
If you don't face it,
you have to.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of relationships, even from the women's perspective, is, I understand you're crying, but like Bati said, you need to understand and look back and say, look, my family needs me, because you could be selfish to a point. Down. You could be selfish to a point because you have to deal with your emotions, but you also have to deal with your emotions in a way that isn't going to affect your children, because your children are going to have that guilt and that hate towards you if you ignore them, because they don't understand what you're going through. All they see is that you're not paying that attention. Your spouse, they need certain attention. You have to, I think communication is big, like telling them, I don't feel good, I don't feel right, like I'm missing. You have to talk about it. And if the other one doesn't want to talk, then you need to find someone who will listen to you and talk to you, because the more you hold it in, the more you ignore it, then it's going to lead to the fights and the divorce and the kids being mad, and then the kids become a problem, and you're fighting about the kids, and then you start fighting about money and everything else.
Just the simplest.
It could be dinner you're fighting over.
That's like a big thing though that we had, like, that we did with each other. Like, we would be driving in the car, and all of a sudden I'm crying, and he would look at me and he would say, you miss Lito, or you miss your dad, huh? And it would be because of a certain song that came on the radio. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah. And he would be like, do you want me to turn it? No, don't turn it, turn it up.
I want to hear it, yes.
But yeah, we just kind of had that open communication of when, like, and some days he would come home and he would be like, dang, today I really was missing whoever. And I'm like, yeah, I know, me too. And then we just kind of talk about but we always revert back to the funny times, the good times. And that's what gets us through it.
And the one thing I like about our family is that we do, like, we always invite people to come hang out with us, and we say, that are hurt or have gone through something, and we always say, come hang out with us, we'll make food. We always laugh. We always BS about everything. You'll have, we could take your mind off it, even if it's for an hour while you're with us. And, we try to do that. But the one thing that we don't do is we refuse to forget about them.
Yeah.
Like, we refuse. You just cannot forget about that person.
That's funny because Sam said, like, we're the only family that he knows, like, after Ruben died in 93, and we still go
till this day celebrate
to the cemetery and we take him flowers and we visit him and we make sure we go on holidays. He's like, your family's the only family that I know that does that after all these years. And I'm like, because, like, why
he's
would
still
we
our
forget
brother?
Our brother. Like,
yeah,
no,
he's still our brother. He might not be here with us, but he's a part of us, and he's that part of that 14 brothers and sisters. We can't not leave him out. It doesn't go down to 13 because he isn't here anymore. Right. Like, we still have to count him. So
how do you think, like, because I know I've had to have conversations with my kids, and sometimes we feel like our kids aren't hurting because they're not really
they don't show the emotion,
don't know or whatever. But like Sammy didn't know Dad. He didn't really know Dad. He knew he had a tata and he saw him a couple times, but like he hurt when Dad died, and I really didn't realize how much he was bothered by it.
Well, did you see him at Kim's? He was crying.
He was crying.
Yes,
he does.
He sat by himself, and
in
I
the
walked
corner.
up to him and I go, "Are you okay?" And he just like shakes his head, and I'm like, "No, you're not." And I give him a hug, and he just was crying, and I was just
think,
like, I felt so
for
bad.
him, like death
really,
yeah. But I think like it's good because me and Sam kind of go back and forth about it. Like even with Kim's, he's like, "Why are the kids gonna go?" And I'm like, because they have to be exposed to death early, so that way when they're adults or even teenagers, they're not devastated by it. And I thought that was like a good thing that my dad did with us. Our great grandma passed when she was 105, and that was our first funeral that we went to.
Right.
And Mom didn't really want us to go, but Dad said like we had to be exposed to it somehow. And just shortly after, Ruben died, and then it was
a chain reaction after that.
To me, it was good though, because we weren't like, it wasn't like
scary.
Yeah, when we went up to see the casket, we weren't like, oh my God, this is the first time, and then it's our brother. It's so close that you're devastated by it. I didn't want that to happen with my kids, so I always make my kids go, and even if they sit in the back and they're not really involved in the service, just to know that like this is a part of life.
I think the kids really do need to be exposed. They need an explanation. They need to know why it happened. They need to know how it happened. They need to know, the truth behind it, whether it was natural or not.
Our family is we don't hide anything.
We don't hide anything.
A lot
but
of people
our
do,
kids,
but we don't.
and some of the kids are stronger than others. Some of them don't care. Some of them really care. Some of them cry. Some of them don't understand it, but they get it. And I think that I wish that we could really one day get all of our kids around the table and talk to them, because I would like to see
maybe maybe that'll be another one.
Yeah, we need to get our kids around and see what they're feeling and really understand, because I know Jojo doesn't cry.
Yeah,
but he has feelings, and you can see that he cares, but people deal with things in different ways, and I don't want our kids to ever feel like they never got to express themselves. So yes, I would like to get our kids around the table, especially Evan. I would love to get Evan's emotion out, because he has 2 absent parents. He lost his grandmother. Now he's living with you. It's very confusing to him. Like, this is that in its own is a topic. But we need to really understand our kids, because we can't assume they're okay. Like, they can't assume they assume we're okay, but we can't do that.
Because after Lito, when I got home, and I felt terrible for her finding out that way, but we had posted the GoFundMe on social media, and I posted it on my Snap, and when I got home, she was in her room crying, and I went in and I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, really, Mom? What do you mean what's wrong? And I'm like, oh shit, like she found out about
through
it
social
on
media.
Social media. That's I wanted to go home and tell them,
right?
But I didn't think like, oh, my kids are on social media, they're gonna see it there first, and I shouldn't have done things that way.
I think that was the same thing with how Raina and David found out about Ruben, as he passed away. We were at the hospital. Mom didn't let any of the kids know until after we came home the next day.
I was in California.
Yeah, I know we didn't find out until Mom sent Tony to my Nana's to pick us up. And I was like, where the heck is my mom at? And we were sitting outside playing, and there was no adults there. And he was by himself, and he said, your mom wants me to take you guys home. And immediately I knew, because I was like, she's not here.
Putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, putting 2 and 2 together at 9 years old. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, Mom couldn't have came and told us herself.
Right.
Like, and actually, Mom never told us.
Well, see, I think that's where, we got to look at ourselves as parents too, because mom went through such a depression afterwards that I don't think for a whole year she
didn't.
talked to us. She wouldn't come out of her room.
No.
She wouldn't. Like, she really lost that. You ask her now, and she lost that entire year. She doesn't remember it. I remember her putting biscuits in the cabinet and putting tomato sauce in the refrigerator. That's how out of it she was. Like, she didn't.
I don't remember
She
her,
went
like,
through.
not being in her robe.
No,
Like,
right.
would
She
come
did.
out-
She pajamas.
Yeah, like,
day and night. She wouldn't get the kids up for school.
No.
We would have to do that. Like, she was absent. Like, she lost an entire year.
Well, I was only like 5 or 6, and I just remember being with Lorraine all the time when I was little. Like, she would send me over. If I got sick, I was with Lorraine. I don't remember that part. I remember him passing. I remember the funeral, and then I don't remember a lot of it. I just remember being with Lorraine a lot.
I think that's where,
And I remember Dawn and our aunts coming and feeding us, waking us up for school, picking us up from the bus stop. Like, she was not. And then she said one day she just woke up. And I remember coming home one day and I was like, what the hell is she doing in the kitchen? Like, she
and from that day,
like,
she
what's
stopped
going-
smoking, and it was like a whole different world to her.
Yeah.
But she had to snap out of it. Like, it affects people differently.
Well, for the first year after Lito passed away, I'm not a drinker at all. You guys know I will smoke day and night. I don't really drink. If I drink, it's a shot really quick and I'm done. But I fucking
drank a
drank
lot.
so many
did.
bottles. I'd wake up drinking. I'd go to sleep drinking. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, drink
Just
some
trying
more.
to numb
I was
the-
in the bar constantly, like for a whole year, and then I just remember mom constantly, you need to quit drinking
Oh,
so
yeah,
much.
she
It's
would say
like
that
every
to
time
me.
I talk to her,
Lorraine
she
needs
just
to stop drinking.
I'm just like,
And I'm like,
what am
Mom,
I
leave her
doing?
alone.
What am I doing?
Let
But
her
yeah,
deal.
everybody deals with it different.
Yeah,
You do
'cause
things that you don't expect to do, and
with Des, I remember her calling her the same night or early that morning, and I was like, I have to tell her. I have to be the one to tell her. Her and Lito were so close that I was like, it was hurting me to have to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she was gonna cry. I thought she was gonna lose it. I told her, and she just said, "Oh," and she didn't say one more word. She didn't say nothing else. But I feel like after that, she shut down. Like, she's not the same person.
She isn't, and that's where we need to look at each one of our kids, and even though they look okay, we need to ask them how they feel, and how we need to get them, how we're talking about this, we need to get them in the same room and make them talk about it too.
And I think we've always been raised like, you be strong, and
Well,
and
this is
I've
me.
raised, but
I
I've
said
raised
this-
my kids like that.
I said
too.
this the other day. I said the way we were raised is, if you're gonna cry, I'm gonna give you something to cry about. So
Yeah.
none of us cry about anything,
I
and
know,
that's why
I'm a
everybody
fucking
thinks
crybaby.
everybody thinks we're strong, but it's, you don't cry. We were raised to
I'll
be
cry no
strong,
matter
and
what.
you
I cry
don't
in the
cry.
shower. I
And-
don't like to cry in front
and
of
we
people.
were raised to deal with everything on your own. You don't go to nobody for help.
Yeah.
You don't talk to nobody. You don't tell nobody your business. You deal with everything on your own, and you figure it out. We're strong, and you be strong. That's it. And it's.
But it is like with Ruben still hasn't like showed no emotional, and him and Letha were
Very close.
very close. And I keep telling him, like, you got to deal with it. You're going to snap one day. You're going to explode one day because it's too much. And he's like, Mom, that's weak. That's what weak people do. And I'm like, but it's kind of my fault because I always
the same
taught them,
way.
like, you got to be strong. You got to keep it moving, keep it pushing. It's not going to. And Sam always tells the kids too, what's crying going to fix? Crying's not going to fix anything. And I'm like, crying does fix things. It makes you feel better.
But see, we could cry and laugh like we're doing right
But
now.
I think that's like coming from a man's perspective. Like, again,
Right.
They deal with
They deal with
emotion
things different. Yeah. I don't know. I there's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's no good way, there's no bad way.
Whatever
It's
works
what
for
works
you.
for you.
But
Some
you gotta
people
stay positive.
you do.
regardless.
You do. You got to get back to work. You got to get to your day to day. You need to pay attention to your household, but you can always include that person in everything you do. We have we give hummingbirds to each other. We do the street cleanups. We visit dad. We go to the cemetery every New Year's and take my brother flowers. We reach out to my brother regarding Kim. We have several friends, family, our nanas, tatas, aunts, uncles, you name it. We talk about it. We laugh about it. We always try to make something funny and positive out of it. And we try to do that with other people too. When we see them hurting, it's like, well, let's
just donate in that person's name, something like
to
positive.
memorialize them. And that's part of the street cleanup. I think
Well,
do we like to clean up?
Fund.
Do we like to clean up foil and straws every day? I mean, when we're out there cleaning the street and Lito's name, no. But you know what? That's something to be proud of in his name, that we can honestly come home afterwards and say, we did this for him and he was there with us watching. Like, that's something he would be proud of.
Ladio was like, oh my God, you guys clean all of this? You guys walk this far and clean? And I'm like, yes, we do. You think we want to do this? No. But it's for a good cause. And afterwards he's like, Mom, you're right. Like, I did feel good doing that for him.
Well, something our cousin Chad says all the time is, he missed 29 years of his life being in jail, and every opportunity he gets to spend with family, even if it's something you would never say you would do, it's that memory that you have. And he says, being out there cleaning up shit, he goes, if I have to clean up somebody's shit every day, as long as I'm with family and I could say I did it, I'm happy to do it, because being in jail and hearing about it is something different. Yeah. And and that's another topic, how do people in jail deal with death? They hear about it all the time. They don't get to grieve. They don't get to go to a family member. They don't get to see that person. They don't get to spend time with their family.
Well, even in there, you can't cry and stuff because
you can't
then
be
you're
weak.
weak.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're weak.
You can't be weak. So, there's different scenarios. There's different things. And, I just like to look at the good and the positives. And, the one thing that I did say, and our dad was sick for years. He was supposed to die years ago. He had 9 lives, definitely. But, when I got married back in 1999, I think I wasn't talking to my dad at all. And one thing that I told my mom is, I have to talk to my dad. I have to make amends with him. I have to let him walk me down the aisle, because I don't want any regrets once he's gone. And I did that, and we had a pretty good relationship after that. Like, that's all it took was, me being the bigger person. And one thing he never did is he never denied us. He never turned us down. He never kicked us out of his house. But he wasn't the type to go looking for you and saying, hey,
no, he would look for Lorena.
But he never denied us. And that's one thing that I learned later on, is that, he wasn't going to come out and look for us, but I needed to reach out to him. And after that, he made it a point to always be in our lives. And I'm so grateful for that, because if I would have never done that, that's something, and like you said, we weren't super close with my dad. We were all good with him. We were close with him, but not where, we didn't everybody who knows us knows we don't have the damn typical family. That's just it.
I think a good thing, though, was like before he passed, he made amends with all of us. He
did.
Admitted his wrongs. He apologized for them. And to me, that made me feel better, because that was one thing, like, because I know Sam asked me, like, how are you going to go over there and wipe his ass when he didn't do anything for you? Like, how does that make you feel? Like, and I'm like, it is what it is.
Right.
But then I thought about it, and I always felt like if my dad passed, I wouldn't care. Like, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't hurt me, because that was like me being angry at him.
Mm-hmm.
But to talk to, and he didn't bring up the subject. I didn't bring up the subject. He brought it up, and he was like, I just want to apologize to you guys. I know I haven't been the best father. Mm-hmm. I know we could have had more time together and stuff, but I apologize. I think just that, him saying
that made up for our whole childhood.
Like, I didn't care that
right.
he wasn't around all the time. I didn't care what he did wrong or bad. I just wanted to know that he did think of us.
He acknowledged
that he was the person that was wrong in that situation. And now I hold no grudges.
Yeah.
See, I think I was the opposite because I didn't have that conversation with him. And I remember after he passed, like, feeling so guilty that I didn't, like, forgive him. And I would be at work and I just tell him I need to leave because I was just crying and crying. I would cry, go to work and cry every day. And I was like, I can't do this. But it's because I felt guilty. I should have forgave him and made amends with him before he passed.
And I think
he talked to the chaplain. Every time the chaplain would come every week, he would tell the chaplain. The only thing he would talk to him about is how thankful he was that we were all there at the end, because he knew he didn't deserve that. And he appreciated every one of us being there.
And it took every single one of us to show up for him to pass.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Every single last one of us came.
Yeah. And I give that to him because that's one, I that right there I can say, no other father would have done that, especially having kids from several different mothers and waiting for all 14 of them to show up. And, it took a lot from his standpoint. But, and again, these are lessons learned from us. We learn from things, we always have to look at things from different perspectives, and not every single one is going to be a cookie cutter scenario. No. Everything's different. Everything feels different. Everything plays out different. Your feelings are different. But
I remember with the dad, and this is just like taking care of someone that's sick, like Lorraine being so mad at him because he was like hiding his diapers, and Lorraine was like so mad and so irritated. And I was like, well, we have to remember, like, he's our dad,
right?
And he's a man. Like
that's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing for him. Like he's being humiliated right now, and he has no control over it. So I know a lot of people too, when they're taking care of like someone that's sick, and I think I just get it from like being in the medical field and having that experience in the patients. You just like they have no control over it, so it's humiliating for them.
And like Mom always says, she refuses to go into a nursing home. She refuses
says she refuses us to take care of her.
She refuses us to take care of her. And she just wants to die in her home alone. Well, you don't have this many kids and get to make that choice. You just don't. But at the same time, I know, if anything ever happens to our mom, we're going to be super pissed off at her because we're going to bump heads like crazy because she's
even
super
after
stubborn.
Her surgery, when I went in to help her get dressed, she was so pissed off that I was in there, and I'm like, but she was so sedated, she couldn't move. And so she kept telling me, turn the other way while you're helping me. And I'm like, really, Mom? Like,
even after her car accident, though, I helped her get dressed one day and helped her.
I took her a sponge bath, and that was like, oh my goodness.
She never let me help her again.
I washed her hair in a bucket, and I took her a sponge bath, and I had to get her dressed, and oh my God. But see, these are the things, like, after she passes, these are the stories we're going to tell, and we're going to laugh about it.
And that's what people need to do. Let me do crap. He wouldn't let me feed him. He wouldn't let me change him. He wouldn't let me. But Pati'd come over and, oh my God, here, Dad. Okay.
And he would not let her throw any of it. He wasn't eating at all.
He would hide his food.
And he would hide his food and tell her he ate. And then when she would find his food and try to throw it away, he would yell at her and tell her, no, you can't throw that. And it would be something that was sitting there for days. And I would come and I'm like, we're throwing all this away. Oh yeah, here, throw this too. And I would tell him, open your mouth, take your medicine. And he would open his mouth, take his medicine. And Lorraine's like, dude, like, I've been trying to get him all day to take his medicine, and he wouldn't take it. But I think because he was closer with Lorraine,
it was more embarrassed.
And he knew, like, if he didn't want to do something, he
didn't have to.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have to. I was gonna make him do it,
right.
And I wasn't gonna bargain with him. Lorraine would bargain with him and be like, "Oh, okay, he doesn't want to do it."
So what? Pick one person who you feel affected you the most when they passed away, and maybe the strongest memory you have. And I'll start. I would say, for me, and just because it's been a number of years, my brother Ruben, It's been 29 years. I think that, again, like I said, I held that guilt for years and years and years. And the strongest memory I have of him is probably his drawing and the way that he took care of the kids and played with them. And, you know, other people seen a different side of him. They saw that tough kid that wanted to fit in, that, you know, wanted to hang out with all the cousins and be in the streets with the friends and everything. And, you know, I seen it more from, you know, as a little brother, and those are the memories that I hold. And when I think about him, that's what I think about. I don't think about how he was killed or, you know, what led up to it or any of that. I try to keep those positive memories of him at 15 years old as a kid. What about you, Anna?
For me, it was definitely Lido. Like, I don't think I've still healed from it. I
don't think any of us will ever. Yeah. That was a rough one.
I noticed since then, though, I kind of refuse to cry in front of people. Like, if I start, I just shut myself down. Like, I cry alone a lot. But for that, it hurt me the most because I guess I feel kind of guilt, too. Like, I have a lot of good memories of him and him smiling, and he was always happy. He always wanted to be around because him and Des were so close. One of the biggest memories, and I still won't let Des do it, but maybe I'll let her do it. Maybe it'll make her feel better. They bugged me for like a month straight about
I already know what you're going to say.
Bleaching some jeans.
One side bleach.
One side. And they begged me. They would message me constantly, send me TikTok videos and pictures, and this is what we wanted. And I would note.
You need to do that. You need to do that with her. You need to go get a pair of jeans. You need to get the bleach, and you need to sit down, do that with her, and make her talk about it.
Yeah.
Make her do it.
But yeah, I think that's what it is. And I think a lot of it too is I don't know how to talk to her about it because I know she's hurting and I'm hurting and I won't cry in front of my kids.
You need to cry with her.
I think that's probably our healing process that we need to do together.
I think definitely Letho was the hardest, and I think because to us he was a baby still.
Yeah. He was still our baby. And he was still young.
He was just so innocent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was definitely hard.
Happiness to us that we didn't realize we didn't have when he was gone. He brought a lot of the happiness and joy. My favorite,
or my memory that I always keep going back to is the night he passed. We were there that night, and he was just vibing out to a song and dancing, and he was just happy. And he had told me and Sam, he's like, "What would you say if I told you I was having a baby?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." But
he wanted to have a responsibility of his own so bad. Like he wanted to prove that, you know, I think that I really wish he would have been able to be around Bella because, oh my God, Bella would have been more spoiled than what she is today. She would have been saying, "I'm going to tell my Dionito on you."
You know that she still comes to the house and she'll point at his pictures and she's like, "Uncle Dan."
Aw.
And I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, she always called him Uncle Dan.
That's funny.
So mine is Lido, and I'll just say like him being giving all the time, like the Christmas angels every year. I would yell at him so bad, like, dude, you're spending your whole check. This is all they want. Get them this and maybe something else, something extra, and that's it. But I want to buy them this, and I'm like, dude, that's $100 for one gift. Like there's
he
cheaper.
Didn't care,
and no, he wanted to give everybody his money
and that's
give everybody the best, and it was just like that's all he wanted to do was give and help out. And he'd give bums his money and I'd be yelling at the bum like, "Why are you asking my kids for money? He's a kid still." And he'll be like, "It's okay, Mom." And I'll be like, "No, it's not okay. He's a grown man. Like, don't be asking my kid." Then Phoenix Children's Hospital, he's donating money, and I'm like, "What are you doing donating Phoenix Children's Hospital money?" And he's like, "But Mom, that's like our house. That's where we live." And I'm like, "Well, that is true, but don't be giving them your whole check."
And
like,
I think that's why it's so easy for us to go do these street cleanups and stuff because he was so giving.
It was always like that. And then like I mean, there's a couple with my dad. My dad, just his stories. He was like always, oh my God. You could laugh at it. Could be a serious story and you're laughing because you don't know what's true and what's not true unless you were there. And then Carmen, she was just straight out. She would fucking...
Oh, yeah. You think everybody who listens to this, you think that us four tell it like it is?
Oh my God.
You need to meet Carmen, and she will tell you like it is.
The biggest thing that I remember is one day, I hope she don't hear this. Priscilla was like, they asked her, who are you? And she goes, I'm Carmen's daughter-in-law. And Carmen gives her this nasty look, and she goes, I only have one daughter-in-law, and that's Lorraine. Oh, God. And I'm like, dude, we've been divorced for like years, and she's like, I don't care, I don't have no other daughter-in-laws. And I'm like, okay. But they're good memories. That's the only thing that I remember.
I think with Lito, it's just he did not leave the house unless he was dressed from head to toe for every event, and he would get so excited about the littlest family get-togethers, and he was up early in the morning,
the
dressed.
Event could be at 6:00, and at 8:00 he's fully dressed, and I'm like, what? Where are you going? Oh, for tonight. And I'm like, that's hours. Like, you'll be dirty by then.
But he made it a point where he did not leave the house unless he looked good. He was so soft-spoken. I don't remember ever seeing him angry. Like, ever. And he just loved being around the kids. And I miss that. Like, if I could say I have regrets, there's a lot of regrets that I have that I didn't get to spend more time and get to know him more on a personal level.
I think I regret not playing tag with him too when Dad was sick. TikTok. Was sick and all the kids were running around playing tag, and I remember standing by Dad's door and looking at Dad, and he comes and taps me on my shoulder, and he's like, hey, Bati, you want to play tag? And I look at him and I smile, and I'm like, dude, I cannot run. Like, I am not playing tag with you guys. You guys will catch me or I will fall on my ass. Like, I am not playing tag with you, but I regret not playing tag with him.
One thing that we do need to do, and he wanted to do this the Easter before he passed away, is he wanted to do a TikTok video of all of us doing this dance, and we never did it.
First TikTok dance.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like a family TikTok.
I'm sorry, you guys, but this Easter we will be doing this dance.
Oh my gosh, I better practice.
We have like a couple of months to get it done, but this is something he begged us all to do, and we all said we would do it, and it's been a couple of years
for you guys.
and we haven't done it. And this is something we could sit back and laugh about, because it's gonna I can only imagine the off dances that certain people are gonna come up with.
My gosh.
But I hope this helps everybody. And do you guys have anything last that you want to say or add?
I'm just going to say, if I could get through everything, if you know me or you get to know me, you'll know everything that we've been through. Not just me, but this family. But if I could deal with it, anybody could. So there's no excuses. You just need to be positive. Quit being so negative and down and depressed.
Feeling sorry for yourself.
Like feeling sorry and being depressed and this and that, like, or trying to make people feel sorry for you, like, that isn't going to get you nowhere, except for people not even to be around you. So, I mean, everybody goes through it. Everybody has their feelings and stuff, but you got to keep pushing, keep moving.
But don't lose the memory. But don't lose the memories.
Well, I mean, that's you should. If you care that much about that person, you shouldn't always be down and depressed. You should be happy and remember those memories.
Remember that they're in a better place.
Yeah. And they wouldn't want
You're gonna
to
see them
like
again.
Yeah. It's almost like, when I die, I don't want people to be sad. I want a party. I want people to laugh.
Dad used to say, when I die, you guys better not be crying. I want you guys dancing and partying. And we partied afterwards.
Because honestly, you guys are the ones screwed over if I leave this earth. You guys are the ones screwed, not me. So celebrate.
Well,
celebrate.
Carlos tells me I better not play that stupid ass sad music at his funeral, so I promised him I'd play some Young Buck or something. That's what everyone's
Sam
listening
said
to.
that because when we had went to Small's service, remember, Lorraine, they were playing Bury Me a G inside the church, inside a Catholic church. And Sam was like, see, Pati, I fucking told you can play Bury Me a G when I die. And I was like, shut up. And he's like, no, serious. Like, this is a Catholic church.
Hey.
And they're playing it. He's like, if they can play it in a Catholic church, you can play it for me.
Well, I'm
And
just
like,
letting
great.
you guys know if anything ever happens to Dino, you guys will be doing a Soul Train line.
Oh my God. Nah, I'm going to do the Beyonce dance.
shit.
Typewriter.
Well, I hope this is helpful to everybody. We will be posting this on social media platforms. Feel free to leave your comments. Please do not be negative. This is not something that we want. Again, what works for us doesn't work for everybody. But we don't need your negativity. We're not doing
therapists,
this.
We're not doctors.
Right. We're not professionals in any way. We're giving you the perspective from our point of view and what our experiences are. But we want to reach out to other people and let them know that they're not alone, that, we experience, you name it, we've experienced it, and we'll be talking about it. But,
and if there's a topic you want us to talk about, let us know as well.
Or if you want to join us.
Or if you want to message us and you have questions or you just need that one-on-one, feel free. And, if you don't want it recorded, we are here to help. We want to help other people. We want to help everybody get through things as much as we can. We can't make promises and we can't guarantee that you'll feel better afterwards, but, we'll try our best.
And if you want to be a guest,
We will have food.
for a certain topic, yes, let us know. We'll have food and you can come sit at the table with us.
We will do this again in about 2 weeks. We hope you guys enjoy this. We hope it's entertaining, but as well as entertaining, helpful. And, until next time. Today is Sunday, February 6th. We are meeting today with us as sisters on topics that have been requested. One of them that has been requested is the how do we deal with the loss of family members? Over the last 3 years or so, we've lost several family members. We've lost both sets of grandparents. We've lost a parent. We've lost siblings. We've lost in-laws, nephews, and multiple friends and cousins, you name it. We've been through it these last couple of years. Everybody asks how we are strong and how we get through things. Well, part of what we do is we get together as a family. We're fortunate enough to have a big family to be able to do that. And we have breakfast or we have dinner. It's always around food or drinks. And we talk it out. So that's something that we wanted to share with all of you guys today. I have 3 of my sisters here. We have Anna, Pati, and Reina, and myself, Dawn. We usually get together, the 4 of us, and talk about stuff. We'd like to have the entire family here, but everybody doesn't like to participate usually. But we are pretty close, and we're fortunate to have that closeness as sisters, and we're able to do this. How do we deal with it? I guess, everybody could just jump in and talk about it. We wanted to have some outsiders here today to kind of get their thoughts on what they do and how they cope and, how long it's been and just the different scenarios. But, it is us today. I would say from myself, this is how I get through it, is just having the support of family and being able to talk about it. What about you guys?
I say it's me, Reina, too. So I say just the main thing is to stay positive and look at everything in a positive way instead of being negative. So many people are out here and they're just negative about everything. And if you're gonna just look at all the bad of when somebody passes away or the what if and I could have did this, said that, it ain't gonna get you nowhere. You gotta be positive, look at the positive stuff, how long they lived, the good times that you spent with them, the memories, stuff like that.
That leads me to another question, is like how, and that's a good way to look at it, because I think I do that. I play devil's advocate with everything, not just this, but with everything. I look at it from both sides. we had a friend say something on social media the other day about their family member's birthday and how bad it hurt, and we had our aunt respond and say, well, why don't you go buy a birthday cake and celebrate her birthday with her? Those are the types of things that we do. What about Bati, Anna? What are some of the celebratory things you guys do to remember your loved ones?
This is Pati. I think I handle it a lot by like memories. For like Dad's birthday, me and the kids released balloons for his birthday, and I think just like celebrating, we did a cake too and sang him happy birthday. The same thing with Lito, like we all get together at the cemetery and just celebrate it, because I mean, we can't change what it is, and so the best thing I found was just to celebrate their life instead of dwelling on the negative.
It's Anna. So I think for me it's the same thing, keeping their memory alive, like what we do for Lido in the street cleanups and going and celebrating birthdays. Even with my dad, we'll go, even though he's cremated, we go over to Lorraine's, we still celebrate. That helps me. And then another thing is when I'm feeling really down and I'm by myself and my sisters aren't around or I'm working, I still write my nephew messages on Instagram. I don't know if I ever told anyone that, but I still write him like if I'm writing anybody, and I tell him how much I love him and I miss him, and that helps me.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we do a lot as we do celebrate. We think of what they would want to do if it was their birthday. If it's our nephew's birthday, how would he want to celebrate it? And we celebrate it.
He was a happy kid.
Yeah,
so.
We give high fives. He loved helping other kids. So that's one thing, we created this scholarship fund to help other kids. The street cleanup, anything that we can do. My sister has a jar of candy next to his urn because he had candy for all of his nurses.
We leave him shots of tequila or whatever drink we're drinking.
Right.
Dawn always brings him flowers.
I bring him flowers, and we just had our sister-in-law pass away, and even though we didn't spend a whole lot of time with her, we try to lift my brother up and my nephew and let them know that we are there for them as well. And every time we got together, we had food. Every time she came over, it was to celebrate somebody's birthday or a holiday or something, and we always had food. So that's something we do with him, is we make a lot of food and we have him come over and celebrate as well.
I think that's like the main thing is food. Seriously, like
food cures everything.
Brings everyone together.
No, because like on a bad day, we'll just come and call in, I need food, and pretty much you already know what's going on.
I think that's a big part, though. Not everybody has family support like that, but I think it's very important for us, even if we're on bad terms or mad at each other. Like, if we need each other and we can call each other, we'll always be there. Times when it matters, like holidays or my dad's birthday or Lito's birthday or anybody's that has passed in our family's birthday, or just to celebrate them, we all come together regardless of how we feel about each other. And I think everybody should do that. It's important.
And a lot of people don't have family or friends, or they
That's what
express
I was gonna
that
say,
they
yeah.
don't have it, but you need to find an outlet. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to pick up the phone and call a